how is everyone this morning? Hi, it's Anna Walker from Anna Walker Designs and STABThingsIntoExistence.com. And I did some experimenting with a new technique yesterday. And while I like the results, it's not what I was envisioning. So I am going to do another experiment later today. But I thought that I would do a little show and tell because one thing that I've learned in these past 12 years of felting is that sometimes you just got to say, let's try that again. And this is one of those times, and we're going to try it again. I'm going to keep this one for myself because I like the way it turned out, even though it didn't turn out the way I envisioned. But I wanted to show it to you, and I realized it's a little dark in here, so I'm going to turn on the light, and then I'm going to show you what I've got here. That might make it a little easier to see. So the cracked mud technique is a resist felting technique where you have a piece of plastic that is between the base of what you're felting and the top of what you're felting. And then when the felting process is completed, you very carefully cut the resist out along the lines to create this cracked mud sort of effect. My first experiment with this was yesterday. I've been reading about it for years. I've been, drooling over it. And I knew that it wasn't that terribly difficult, but that there were nuances that I probably needed to learn. And I think I've learned one of those nuances, and that is skinny lines and not so much silk. So let me show you first what I ended up with. So I wanted to do sort of a leaf shape and then have the veins come out and be what was the pop of color on this, just to make sort of a centerpiece, a mat to go on a table, to do sort of a fallscape. Now, what I learned is that I made my resist lines way, way, way too thick. And I had way too much silk underneath here. And the silk made it so that the top layer of wool didn't integrate with the bottom layer of wool because it worked as its own resist, which was kind of the point, but I wanted to have thin lines coming out. So what I did was I created a new template. And this template, the only thing it's going to be appearing, and it looks like it will be very sort of fragile, but that's kind of the idea. All of these larger spaces between these thin lines and between the edging of the leaf. It's the other thing I realized. Without the edging showing up here, it didn't really have the full effect of the leaf. So the edging and the leaf veins are all going to be showing in this next batch. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this second, this part deux works out, because I do love the way this looks. I mean, it's got some rough edges. That's the cracking. And imagine, if you will, that these lines were not quite so large and that you just saw this much of the silk between each of the veins. Then it's going to look more like veins, and it would have these rough edges that would be coming up on either side of that to give you. This one's not too bad, but even with that, it could still be thinner. But this is okay for a first try. I feel like first try worked, and that I've got a little bit more practice. It's no longer theoretical. I've actually put it into practice. And even though it's very abstract for a leaf, it still looks very leaf-like to me. At least it does to me. But, think about how this next one is going to turn out with those thinner layers. And I'm thinking I might even add some shorter branches in between just to give a little more detail in there and have that be not so broad a leaf-like interpretation. Give it a little bit more. So it's basically just determining what your shape's going to be, and that would be the entire shape of the piece of plastic here. I would build out the felting, to fit the shape and round it out, wet it down and fold it up so that, I've got nice little layers. Then instead of this silk, I think what I'll do is add a a bright pop of color from just wool instead of the silk. I love the idea of using the silk because it gives some texture, and I may still be able to work with that. And maybe it's a little bit of silk added in with the wool instead of just the silk. I actually used the silk papers that I made a couple of weeks ago. Um, Remember the silk paper experiment where I could make pieces? Well, I could still do the silk. I would just have to cut it to very specifically fit where each of these lines are. And I'm not so sure that that's exactly how I want this to come about. So I still have to play. And I like to come to you guys and let um, my experiments, both good and bad, because you know what? It's all about playing with the wool. And then, of course, all these little pieces that got cut away to show the beautiful silk that I put here in the center, these just go into my bag, and I can use these to be the center of a new set of dryer balls. Um, so, yeah, experiments yesterday, and more experiments today, although I do have an unexpected guest that I wasn't prepared for. My granddaughter's here today, so we're having fun watching the Mickey Mouse Club and coloring and eating oranges and graham crackers and all that good stuff that 2-year-olds love to do. And she's in this beautiful little swishy dress that has star constellations on it. It's this beautiful, deep, deep blue, midnight blue, and it's got these golden, silvery constellations on the swishy skirt. And she's just adorable, just adorable. But yeah, experimenting today. Um, to give you a little heads up, this experiment is in preparation for the fall tablescape video tutorial for my Felt It Experience members. And I don't just throw anything up there, and I don't just rehash old stuff on the Felt It Experience. I am working to improve my own process and to bring new things to you, and I sort of test them out for you and then bring you a tutorial that works to help it be accessible to you. Um, I know how intimidated I was when I taught myself how to felt, and the books and the articles that I read. Frankly, there wasn't a lot on the internet 12 years ago that was able to help me out, but I did find some wonderful books and some magazines that sort of, gave me some insider look. And just in the past few years, felting has just sort of exploded onto the scene. Um, there are some things that are popular now that I was doing back in the early days of my felting journey. I guess I was ahead of the curve. I was ahead of the times. But I'm always looking for the next thing that I can bring to my Felted Experience members to help them continue their own felt journey and to create things of beauty that they can use for themselves, for their homes, that they can give as gifts. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll have a website of their own and they'll be selling their own felting items like I am, or they'll be teaching other people how to felt like I am. So, I'm just happy to sort of be the felting facilitator and to be the curator that goes through and finds things that seem really complex and complicated and does her best to make them accessible for you. That's my job. That's what I love to do, is finding these different techniques, practicing these different techniques, and then bringing them to my members and to my students so that you guys can enjoy your experience without so much of the what can be tedium of putting things together yourself. It's hard when you're learning something new, and it's hard to know where to turn. And I am one that if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find out the answer, or I'm going to find the person that does know the answer, and I'm going to refer you to them. There are some amazing felt artists out there, and I am happy to introduce you to them. And I'm thinking that maybe next week I'll see what I can do about um, bringing you some of the incredible felt art that's out there, and introduce you to some of the possibilities that can happen when you decide to um, work through and learn a new process and begin your own felting journey. And I'd love to be part of that, whether that's you taking a class with me. There are September classes that are up. The class kits are up and they're ready to go. If you're going to order a kit for any of the classes, you'll want to do that ASAP, because classes will be a week from Monday, which means that we don't have a lot of time to get those posted to you. So if you need a kit for the scarf class on the 19th, or you need a needle felting kit for either the mini masterpiece class on the 14th or the create a creature class on the 15th, you want to order those ASAP. And you can go over to stabthingsintoexistence.com, click on shop, and you will find the kits listed there. There are limited quantities of the scarf kits. There are only 2 of each color combination, and there are 7 color combinations. So if you're wanting to do the scarf class, order that kit just as soon as you can so that I can get that out and get it posted to you so that it arrives in time. If you have your own supplies, no problem. Just sign up for the class and you're ready to go. We'll send you an email that's got the link for the Zoom class time. And I'll also send you the list of what you're going to need for that class, the supplies you'll need. So you'll have everything that you need. As if you've got, felting supplies at home, you'll have everything you need just by signing up for the class. So I hope to see you on the 14th, 15th, or the 19th. I've got videoing to do this weekend. I've got some more exploring of this technique to do, because I like the first step, and I am ready to refine it a little bit. And then my Felt It Experience members will get that video tutorial once I've got it refined, and that'll be their September video. So that's kind of what I know for today. It's Friday of Labor Day weekend. I hope that you have something fun planned to spend some time with friends and family, socially distancing and being safe with your masks. Or if not, that you're going to have some time playing with your felt, stabbing things into existence, or working with learning some wet felting techniques. Have some fun this weekend. And remember that we have Labor Day because the labor unions helped establish some of the constraints that make it possible for us to work in safe environments and have OSHA on hand, have rules and regulations protecting our rights. So remember those laborers that fought for those rights as you celebrate this weekend. And I will come back to you on Tuesday. I'm going to take the weekend and I'm going to do the things that I need to do. And then I'll be back on Tuesday and we'll talk some more. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend and we will talk soon. Thanks for being here. Bye.